Two people live in the same building, same neighborhood, same cost of living, similar apartments. The first person earns $90,000 a year. You walk into their place and it looks impressive. A massive television, designer furniture, kitchen gadgets still sealed in the box, closets packed so tightly the doors barely close. But behind the scenes, they check their bank account with anxiety. One unexpected expense could wipe them out. A medical bill, a car repair, a layoff. Everything feels fragile. Now walk across the hall. The second person earns $50,000 a year. Their apartment is simpler, calmer, functional, nothing flashy. But this person sleeps well at night. They have over a year of expenses saved. They invest automatically every month. They are not panicking every time the phone rings. Same building, nearly half the income, 10 times the financial peace. And once you understand why that gap exists, you will never look at money the same way again. Because financial stability has far less to do with income than people think. It has far more to do with the relationship between your possessions and your freedom. And there is one idea that changes everything. Everything you own charges you twice. The first charge is obvious, the price tag. But the second charge is the one quietly keeping millions of people financially trapped, the ongoing cost of ownership. Every possession continues billing you long after you buy it. Storage, maintenance, attention, stress, insurance, repairs, opportunity cost. That exercise machine collecting dust in the spare room, it's not just taking up space. In many cities, that floor space is effectively costing hundreds of dollars a year in housing costs alone. That second car sitting mostly unused, insurance, maintenance, registration, depreciation, every month. And then there's the mental cost. Research consistently shows clutter increases cortisol levels and fragments focus. Your possessions are not just sitting there quietly, they're demanding attention. Every object becomes one more thing to organize, clean, track, store, maintain, eventually replace. And the biggest hidden cost of all? Opportunity cost. Every dollar locked inside unnecessary stuff is a dollar not compounding toward freedom. $15,000 tied up in impulse purchases over time could easily become $50,000 or more invested over the next 15 years. That's not just stuff, that's future freedom being traded away. And this is where most people slowly drift into financial stress without even noticing it. Not because of one catastrophic decision, but because of thousands of small purchases that quietly expanded their lifestyle while shrinking their freedom. So here are the minimalist money rules that help reverse that cycle. Rule number 1. Before buying anything, calculate the cost per use. This one rule alone can eliminate a shocking amount of unnecessary spending. Take the price of an item and divide it by how often you'll realistically use it, and be brutally honest. A $200 jacket worn 3 times costs over $60 every time you wear it. But a $400 jacket worn twice a week for 3 years costs less than $2 per wear. The expensive item is actually the smarter financial decision. The same applies to kitchen gadgets, subscriptions, fitness equipment, luxury purchases. The moment you calculate actual usage, impulse spending suddenly looks irrational. And here's what many people over 40 eventually realize. They do not regret buying fewer things. They regret how much money disappeared into things they barely used. Rule number 2. Use the replacement test. Walk through your home and ask yourself one question. If this disappeared tomorrow, would I actually spend money replacing it? Not theoretically, not emotionally, actually. Would you pull out your wallet and buy another one? For most people, the honest answer is no. The bread maker, the hobby equipment, the clothes with tags still attached, the gadgets bought during a temporary phase. Most possessions stay in our lives because of inertia, not usefulness. And once you remove the things you would never replace, something strange happens. Your house feels lighter. Cleaning gets easier. Your mind feels quieter. You realize how much energy was being spent managing things you never truly valued. Rule number 3, never upgrade something purely because you are bored. This habit quietly destroys enormous amounts of wealth. Your phone still works, but there is a newer model. Your car is reliable, but someone else bought something nicer. Your television looks great, but now there's a slightly sharper version. Modern marketing has convinced people that boredom is a problem requiring a purchase. It is not. Replacing perfectly functional things every few years can easily cost hundreds of thousands of dollars across a lifetime. And the dangerous part? Most people never notice the damage because lifestyle inflation feels normal. It feels like success. But many high earners eventually discover something painful. They upgraded their lifestyle without upgrading their peace of mind. That's why someone earning $200,000 can still feel trapped, because financial stress is not just about income, it's about obligations. Minimalism is not deprivation, it's refusing to turn every raise into a new monthly payment. Rule number 4, create friction around spending. Most people rely on willpower. That rarely works long-term. Willpower fades, systems do not. Delete shopping apps, remove saved payment information, unsubscribe from promotional emails, require a 24-hour waiting period before non-essential purchases. That one waiting period alone kills most impulse spending because many desires disappear the moment immediate action becomes impossible. Then, automate the opposite behavior: savings, investments, retirement contributions. Set them to happen automatically on payday before you ever touch the money. Because financial freedom is usually not built through dramatic moments. It's built quietly, automatically, month after month, year after year. Rule number 5, count your possessions occasionally. Most people dramatically underestimate how much they own. When you realize you already own 47 shirts, buying another one suddenly feels different. You're not buying shirt number 1, you're buying shirt number 48. Without intentional limits, possessions naturally expand to fill available space, always. And here's what makes this especially important after 40. At some point, accumulation stops feeling exciting and starts feeling exhausting. More stuff to maintain, more things to organize, more visual noise, more unfinished decisions. Many people spend decades building a lifestyle that slowly becomes too heavy to carry. Rule number 6, rent or borrow before buying. The back of most closets is basically a museum of temporary enthusiasm: photography equipment, camping gear, musical instruments, exercise machines, things bought during a brief emotional phase. Before committing to ownership, try renting first. This does 2 things. First, it reveals whether the interest is genuine or just novelty. Second, if the interest becomes long-term, you make a much smarter purchase later because you actually understand what matters. And this rule becomes more valuable with age because eventually people realize they do not want to spend the second half of life managing piles of abandoned hobbies. Rule number 7, understand the multiplier effect. No major purchase arrives alone. Every large possession drags an ecosystem of additional expenses behind it. A boat needs storage, insurance, maintenance, cleaning supplies, registration, possibly a larger vehicle. A vacation property creates taxes, repairs, furniture, utilities, travel costs. A luxury car increases insurance, repair bills, depreciation, stress. The sticker price is almost never the true cost. And this is where many financially successful people accidentally become cash flow trapped. Their income rises, but their ecosystem expenses rise even faster. Rule number 8, define what enough looks like. This might be the most important financial skill nobody teaches, because without a definition of enough, income increases simply fuel lifestyle expansion, and the finish line keeps moving. A slightly bigger house, a slightly nicer car, a slightly more expensive vacation. But eventually, people discover something unsettling. They spent decades chasing a standard of living that never actually created lasting peace. So define enough ahead of time. What kind of home genuinely supports your life? What kind of vehicle actually serves your needs? What level of spending creates comfort without constant stress? Write it down. Because if you never define enough, the world will define it for you, and it will always ask you to spend more. Rule number 9, redefine what wealth really means. Wealth is not the size of your house or the logo on your car. Real wealth is optionality. Can you leave a toxic job? Can you handle an emergency calmly? Can you take time off when your family needs you? Can you say no to things that violate your values? That is wealth. The person earning $80,000 while spending $45,000 often has far more freedom than the person earning $200,000 while spending $195,000. One person owns their life. The other person is maintaining an image. And many people do not realize until their 40s or 50s how expensive that image truly became. Rule number 10. Stop waiting for dramatic financial resets. Most people approach decluttering and money the same way. They wait until things become overwhelming, then attempt one massive reset. But sustainable change rarely happens that way. Instead, review spending weekly, declutter gradually, question purchases regularly, pay attention to emotional spending patterns. Small, consistent corrections are far more powerful than occasional extreme efforts. Because financial peace is not built in one dramatic weekend. It is built through repeated small decisions. Now, here's what almost nobody tells you about minimalism and money. The relationship works both ways. Owning less improves financial stability, but financial stability also makes owning less feel easier. Because much of modern consumption is actually an attempt to soothe insecurity. People buy things trying to create the emotional feeling of safety, but purchases create temporary stimulation, not lasting security. Real security comes from savings, low obligations, financial breathing room, knowing you can handle uncertainty, and once people start building genuine financial stability, the urge to constantly consume often becomes quieter naturally. That is the virtuous cycle. Spend less, save more, build security. Feel calmer, need less, build even more security. The destructive cycle works the same way in reverse. Spend everything, feel anxious, buy more for temporary relief, feel even more trapped, repeat. And this is why some people earning very good incomes still feel perpetually stressed, not because they failed financially, but because they unknowingly built lives with enormous maintenance costs. The goal is not deprivation, it's building a life that feels light enough to actually enjoy. And for many people over 40, that realization becomes incredibly important. Because eventually, freedom matters more than appearances, peace matters more than upgrades, and time matters more than status. The person with the calm apartment and a year of expenses saved did not necessarily earn more. They simply became more intentional, and both versions of that life are available regardless of income. The question is whether your money is building freedom or financing obligations, because eventually everyone learns the same lesson. The things you own either support your life or slowly begin owning pieces of it. If this changed the way you think about money, subscribe, because this channel is about building financial peace, freedom, and a simpler life in a world constantly trying to sell you more. And in the comments, tell me this. What is one thing you bought that you honestly wouldn't replace if it disappeared tomorrow?